First of all, thank you for attending today's Preparing for End of Financial Year webinar for this year 2016-17. My name's Richard and I'll be running today's webinar. I've been involved with our business since 2012. I've got a background in payroll, super, customer service, and I've also worked for the tax office, and this is my 6th end of financial year that I've been involved with. In this webinar we'll cover ordering your payment summaries, things you can do now, reportable employer super contributions, and our 8 tips for a smooth end of financial year. So we'll start with ordering your payment summaries. First of all, what are your responsibilities? First of all, you need to ensure that your payment summaries reflect accurate, complete employer, employee and payment information. You need to enter any reportable fringe benefit amounts into eCorporate. You need to submit your payment summary order to us by the 10th of July, and you must provide payment summaries to your employees by the 14th of July. Data needs to be reported to the ATO by the 14th of August. We can help you to fulfill these responsibilities. So yesterday on the 19th of June you would have noticed the payment summary screen became available on eCorporate. So that's a menu item on the left hand side of the screen. That menu item, when you go there, that screen will guide you through the 4 steps that are required to produce your payment summaries. Step 1 is to review the PAYG Employer Details Report. Step 2 is to review the PAYG Employee Details Report. Step 3 is entering reportable fringe benefits and reviewing the reconciliation reports. And Step 4 is completing your online order. That's the steps at a high level. There is some more information in our online help centre that goes into a little more detail. But at Step 1 we give you a report that you can use to verify that the employer details in the system are correct for your business. At Step 2 we'll give you a report so that you can make sure all of your employees' details are correct. At Step 3 is where you can enter your reportable fringe benefits amounts, and we'll also give you some reconciliation reports to review which show you the details that will show on payment summaries. And finally, Step 4, you let us know whether you want us to produce your payment summaries or whether you'll be doing it yourself, along with whether you want to have your payment summaries posted. So I will have a look at the PAYG employer details and employee details reports later in this presentation. So as I mentioned, at Step 4 you let us know whether or how you'll be producing your payment summaries. If we produce your payment summaries for you, we'll produce them electronically. We can also print and post them to your employees. Your employees will be able to access their payment summary online, and we'll also submit the payment summary data electronically to the ATO on your behalf. Payment summary production charges are as follows. For electronic only, so employees in that scenario can access their payment summary online, the cost is $2.95 per payment summary. If you also want us to print and post the payment summaries directly to your employees, we can do that. The cost there is $5.90 per payment summary, which is $2.95 for electronic, plus an additional $2.95 for printing and postage. If you prefer to produce your own payment summaries manually, you can do that. Keep in mind though that you'll need to distribute payment summaries to your employees yourself. Usually that's going to be on paper and handwritten. Your employees won't be able to access their payment summary online, and you will not be charged any payment summary production fees. You will, however, need to submit your payment summary details to the ATO yourself. How early can you order your payment summaries? Wait until you've run your last payroll for the 2017 financial year before you make your order. Your payment summaries will include any payrolls that have an accounting date that falls between 1 July 2016 and the 30th of June 2017 inclusive. They should include any payments that are physically made between 1 July 2016 and 30th of June 2017. again inclusive. And keep in mind that you might need to adjust your accounting dates for your last payroll of the year to ensure that the accounting date falls in the same year where the payment is physically made. So it doesn't matter within eCorporate when you process the payroll, it depends on what the accounting date of the payroll is. Also remember not to order your payment summaries until you've checked and agreed with the details in the reports at Step 1, Step 2 and Step 3 of the payment summary process. Regardless of whether we are producing your payment summaries or whether you're preparing them manually, you need to complete your payment summary order form by the 10th of July. Now we ask you to fill that in even if you're doing your own manual payment summaries, just because it assists us to handle the workload and make sure that all clients do get their payment summaries by the 14th of July. Things that you can do now. So most clients at this stage have not run their last payroll for the year, but there are some things that they can do now so that things aren't left till the last minute. Some of these things are check that your employer details are up to date, check that your employee details are correct, complete a year-to-date reconciliation, calculate any reportable fringe benefits amounts. To check that employee details are up to date, verify your employer name, employer address, employer phone and fax numbers, employer ABN, and payment summary signatory, and industry code. To make it easier for you to verify the PAYG, the employer details, I should say, you can use the PAYG employer details report that generates with every payroll. To access that report, go to payroll, then go to paid payrolls, make sure that the most recent payroll is selected in the drop-down list, and scroll down to the payroll report section and find the PAYG employer details report. Click on that and you'll see all of the details there that you need to check. One point that I will make is that while this document does say this is an important notice and please respond for our eCorporate clients, that is not required for you to respond. Keep a copy for your own records if you'd like to, but otherwise there is no need to send that to us. There is some information, if it's incorrect you can update it yourself on the employer home screen. Items like employer address, employer phone and fax numbers and payment summary signatory can be updated yourself on the employer home screen. You will need to email our support team if you require changes to the name of the business, the ABN for the business or the industry code. You can also check that your employee details are up to date. So the following employee details are probably most crucial for payment summary processing. That's employee name, tax file number, address, and start date. Fortunately, your employees are empowered to update their own address details through employee self-service, so we encourage a lot of clients, or most clients, to get in touch with their employees, send out an email to their employees to get their employees to update their own details like their address, as well as to review their names. This can save the employer a lot of time as opposed to the employer having to check all those details themselves. And you will need to update the employee name if required, their tax file number if required. If you need to update the employee's start date, you will need to talk to us. The PAYG employee details report, in the same way as the employer details report, does make it easier for clients to verify employee details. This report is accessed through payroll and then paid payrolls, and again go to the most recent payroll for the month. Confirm that start and termination dates are correct in the system and that any terminations have been processed. Make sure that TFN details have been supplied. If there's a generic TFN in there, for example, 1111111, check your records and make sure that that's correct. Get in contact with the employee to get the correct tax file number if you do have one of these generic tax file numbers. If you don't, it could delay the employee getting their tax return. Addresses need to be correct as they're reported to the ATO, and make sure they don't contain any commas, and that all addresses contain a state and postcode. Now those requirements are there from the tax office, not from us. After updating either employee or employer details, you need to regenerate the reports on your most recent payroll in order to see those changes take effect. So go to Payroll, Paid Payrolls, make sure that the most recent payroll is selected, which we showed you earlier, and then scroll down to the payroll reports and click the Regenerate Reports button. That can take a few minutes for those new reports to generate, so just be a little bit patient. The next thing you do is complete a year-to-date reconciliation. So as part of your year-end processing, you'll need to reconcile your payment summary figures to your month-end payroll summary report and your general ledger. By reconciling these now, you can verify that there's no issues so far this financial year, and unless something happens between now and 30 June, you can be confident that you won't run into any problems in terms of reconciling at year-end. It also means that if there is an issue, there's more time to fix it rather than trying to rush through fixing them during the pressure of year-end. We've prepared a handy spreadsheet that will help reconcile your payment summary reconciliation report with your month-end payroll summary report. I won't go through this in too much detail, but we will make a copy of this available through the online help centre after this webinar, probably in the next day or so. So type each of the payments in the month-end payroll summary report which aren't included as gross into the deductions column. Type the total payments from the month-end payroll summary report at that field there, and then enter the gross payments from the payment summary reconciliation report here. If the field down the bottom there, the variance stays green, then the two reports reconcile. If it turns red, then there's a problem that requires further investigation. We'll talk about fringe benefits now. So what is a fringe benefit? A fringe benefit is a benefit either you or an associate, such as your spouse or children, receive because of your employment. You can be a current, former or future employee. A benefit could be the use of something such as a car, house or equipment, ownership of something such as an item of clothing, enjoyment of a privilege or facilities such as staying at a holiday home. There are an exemption to some benefits such as a portable electronic device like a mobile phone, an item of computer software, an item of protective clothing, a briefcase or a tool of the trade. However, those exemptions only apply if the items are mainly used for work-related purposes and only one item per fringe benefits tax year for a mostly identical function can be claimed unless the item is a replacement. So if an employee had a mobile phone, that would be okay. It would be okay to replace that mobile phone and both phones would be able to be covered. However, you couldn't give an employee two mobile phones in that scenario at the same time. As the employer, you have to record the value of fringe benefits provided to each of your employees. If the value of certain fringe benefits exceeds $2,000 in a fringe benefits tax year, then you'll need to record the grossed up taxable value of those benefits on your employee's payment summary. You may also have to report the notional value of certain exempt benefits. Grossing up fringe benefits, as I said, the reportable fringe benefits on an employee's payment summary need to be grossed up. The grossed up amount is calculated as the individual's fringe benefit amount divided by 1 minus the FBT rate. So the FBT rate for the 1 April to 31 March 2017 FBT year is 49%. For the 1 April 2017 to 31 March 2018 FBT year, that rate goes back down to 47%. But for this year being 49%, the calculation works out to be the individual's fringe benefit amount divided by 1 minus 49%, which is 0.51. As an example, if the employee's fringe benefits totaled $5,000, the grossed up amount would be calculated as $5,000 divided by 0.51, so the grossed up reportable fringe benefit amount that would be reported on the payment summary is $9,803. Now that amount can get entered into eCorporate during the payment summary ordering process at step 3. We often get questions about reportable employer superannuation contributions and what they are. Reportable employer super contributions are those contributions that you make for an employee where all of the following apply. Number 1, your employee influenced the amount or rate of super that you contributed. Number 2, the contributions are additional to the compulsory contributions that you must make under any of the following: a super guarantee law, an industrial agreement, the trust deed or governing rules of a super fund, a federal, state or territory law. What isn't reportable employer super? Well, the following items are not classified as reportable employer super contributions: all super guarantee contributions, compulsory super contributions required by the governing rules of a super fund or required by an Australian government, state or territory, employer super contributions made under a collectively negotiated industrial agreement. The total amount of reportable employer super must be included on an employee's payment summary. This amount is used by employees on their tax return and may impact their eligibility for some tax items. Provided that your employee's salary sacrifice items have been set up correctly, reportable employer super amounts will automatically be included on your employee payment summary. So if you do want to check how they're configured, you can go into an employee's record into their salary packaging and you'll be able to see how their salary sacrifice has been configured. Next up, we've got our 8 tips for a smooth end of financial year. So these tips have come about through years of experience that our business has had with clients who are working through end of financial year. Tip number 1 is start preparing and planning now. Planning helps to avoid any last-minute issues that could affect your ability to meet your legal obligations. It'll also help to reduce your workload and the amount of stress that you'll experience over such a busy period. Tip number 2 is to educate your stakeholders. So as a payroll administrator, you know you'll be busy over the end of financial year period, but other stakeholders may not be aware of the work that you put in or the deadlines that you're legally obliged to meet. So if you let other departments know that you'll have an increase in workload, that can help better plan and prepare between critical and non-critical tasks. For example, non-urgent work can wait until after end of financial year. If you require other departments to be involved in your year-end processes, which a lot of our larger clients will, it's useful to establish clear deadlines and requirements around what you require and when. Now also don't forget to let your employees know that they're to receive their payment summaries by 14th of July. So what we always find, every client seems to have one or two those employees that think that they'll get their payment summary on the 1st of July and that they need to get it on the 1st of July. If you can manage those expectations now, you'll save yourself a lot of time from having to deal with employees who are constantly asking when they're getting it, whether it's available yet. Tip number 3, don't order your payment summaries too early. So we aim to produce your payment summaries as soon as we receive your order. That means that all payments need to be in eCorporate and be correct at the time you make your order. We won't be able to reverse your payment summaries after they've been produced. So you will need to complete manual amendments and submit them to the ATO if there's any errors. So basically, and I'll jump back to that for a second, the key message here is don't order your payment summaries until you've run all your payrolls, you've checked all your data, and you're happy that everything is correct. Avoid rushing the ordering process. The payment summary ordering process is simple and easy to follow with basic instructions and information to assist you along the way. It's important to read through those instructions carefully as we do make improvements to the process every year, meaning last year's process may be slightly different to this year. Even for our clients who have been with us for 9-10 years, we do recommend that you take your time and read through that process carefully. Tip number 5, check your reports thoroughly. We will provide you with several reports in the payment summary ordering process that let you verify the employee details, your employer details, and the figures on the payment summary. And by ensuring that the figures on these reports and the information on these reports is correct, you'll reduce the likelihood of any problems or delays in the preparation of your payment summaries, and you'll also reduce the risk that you'll need to amend any payment summaries later on. Tip number 6, reconcile your reports. Your month-end payroll summary report for June 2017 will show you the total payments for each pay code for the entire year. You should reconcile those figures back to your payment summary reconciliation report, and it's important to check that those reports are reconciled because your payment summary production will be delayed if they don't. Tip number 7, don't order your payment summaries too late. It does take time for us to produce your payment summaries, particularly if there's any issues with your order, such as reconciliation issues or other issues that come about when we're processing your payment summaries. Also keep in mind that we'll produce payment summaries for over 95% of our clients, so leaving your order till the last minute will increase the time that it takes for us to prepare your payment summaries. So basically the message here is get your order in as early as you can to ensure the fastest processing times, and don't leave it to the last minute. Tip number 8, help us to help you. So over the end of financial year period, particularly from 25th of June to the 15th of July, we'll experience a significant increase in workload. In fact, we're already seeing that starting now this financial year. So our priority over this period is always going to be the preparation of payment summaries because we need to help our clients meet their legal obligations. So if you've got non-urgent support requests that can wait until after that window of increased workload, then please help us by waiting till after the 15th of July to contact us about them. You can also help us to keep our focus on payment summaries by letting your employees know that eCorporate support aren't able to assist them with their payment summary inquiries. Every year we do get lots of inquiries from employees asking for the progress of their payment summaries. A lot of the time we're still waiting for the client. In fact, I'd say most of the time we're still waiting for the client to send us their order, so we have no visibility on the payment summary ordering, even though we wouldn't be able to provide it to the employee anyway. We just don't know. If we pay your super early if we pay your super for you, and you'd like to claim your employee super contributions as a company tax deduction in this financial year, your super contributions for the June quarter or month need to be paid to each fund by the 30th of June. You can let us know before Wednesday 21st of June, so tomorrow, by emailing us at super@aussiepay.com.au if you would like to have your super paid early. You'll also need to complete your final payroll for the financial year by midday on Thursday the 22nd of June for direct debit clients, or Tuesday the 27th of June for EFT clients, i.e. clients with a transaction negotiation authority or transaction activity cap. So that's for clients who we manage the super payments for. Single touch payroll, all of you should be familiar with single touch payroll. We have been talking about it in our newsletters and blog posts for some time, but it's a major development in the Australian regulatory landscape, and we can assure you that we'll be at the forefront of single touch payroll changes. We have been working with the ATO for some time, so we are familiar with the requirements and across the requirements, and we are working towards our objectives there. Our objective is to always keep innovating our service offering, and eCorporate is in the process of developing an onboarding tool, for example, which leverages single touch payroll for those for that purpose. But don't forget, you can personalize your training now. Like any business, our clients have staff that turn over, so there's usually a training handover process that happens at our client's end in that regard, but we can also help train new payroll administrators in how to use our system, or anybody for that matter. We can help your new staff conquer payroll by registering for our upcoming personalised training sessions to help you work in confidence. We can do one-on-one in-depth training on topics like leave management, terminations, general ledger integration, payment group management, and much more. I'd also like to introduce our new Help Centre, which I believe most of you will have seen by now. Find what you need quicker and easier with the eCorporate Help Centre, with new help topics, a quick search bar, dedicated end of financial year topics, and access to training. We've made it easier than ever to get the most out of eCorporate. Okay, so that's all the topics I wanted to cover in today's demonstration, or sorry, today's webinar, I should say. Have a look at the we'll have a think about the information that you've got. If you've got any questions, there's a questions window in GoToWebinar. Type your questions in there and I'll answer it. Just while we're waiting for that to happen, I did want to show you a little bit of our eCorporate Online Help Centre. This is very useful because it is where a lot of the help for our clients now resides. So you can access that through the Help Centre or link on the left-hand menu of the screen. It looks like this, so there's a range of topics on all aspects of the system. There's a year-end section which is particularly useful for this time of year. Now this summarises the same information that was in this webinar, but we've also got a frequently asked questions section and a step-by-step guide to the 4-step process of ordering your payment summaries. So have a look at that process. Definitely familiarise yourself with that. With any of our online help topics, please give feedback on whether the feedback was useful or not. You can use the smiley faces here on the right-hand side of every help topic to tell us what you thought of those help topics. So a green face means it was good, and even if you do think a topic was really good, I encourage you to send that notification through because it does help us identify the kind of content and the style of content that works best for our clients. If you weren't happy with a topic, you can use the red face or the amber face. When you do that, you'll be able to add a comment about what you think could be improved. Now that is completely anonymous, so if you do want someone to contact you back about your feedback, you will need to put contact details into that box. We've also got our paid training, which I mentioned earlier. If you do want to access some of our paid training from an expert like myself, complete the form here and send that through and we will be in touch. Don't forget I discussed earlier about a recording being available, and it will also make a copy of these slides available and that reconciliation spreadsheet in our online help centre, hopefully tomorrow, depending on how we go in terms of timing with converting the recording, but they'll be available in our year-end section here as well. Okay, so we've only got one question there at the moment. Okay, so I am going to make sure that I may reword the questions just to ensure that I'm not giving away any private information about any of our clients or their employees. The question that I've got here is about fringe benefits tax and how it's entered. So it is very easy. The fringe benefits tax, as I said, is entered, or fringe benefits amounts, I should say. The reportable fringe benefits amounts are entered at step 3 of the payment summary order process. So I've got a screenshot here of step 3. So Step 3 gives a list of employees and their grossed up reportable fringe benefits amounts. By default, you'll have no values in there. To add reportable fringe benefits amounts for an employee, click Edit. That'll bring up a field here where you can type in the dollar value, and then you'll click Update on the side here. There are more detailed instructions in our online help for how to do that, and a step-by-step guide as well as some helpful tips, so have a look at that. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any more questions at the moment. I'll hang around for another couple of minutes in case somebody is still typing a question. Other than that, I hope that the webinar has been useful for you and has taught you a little bit about what you can expect and what you need to do at end of financial year. If you've got no other questions yourself, you're welcome to leave. You're also welcome to hang around with me for another couple of minutes, just in case somebody does ask a question. Okay, so I have had another question come through. Well, I've had two questions come through. So the first question is, what will happen to employees who aren't depositing their super before the 30th of June? If we pay the super for you, that super will be picked up and paid in July as normal. If you're paying your super yourself, then you'll just make your payments through your normal mechanisms. But keep in mind that your business won't be able to claim a deduction for that super until the end of next financial year. The other question that I had is, can we enter an overseas address for an employee that's left and have the payment summary sent there? Yeah, absolutely. So you can. There are some requirements over the surrounding the addresses for overseas addresses. They're stipulated by the ATO. So the first thing to note is that the country field needs to have the full name of the country, for example, United Kingdom, not UK. And the state field needs to be OTH, which is available in our list of states, and the postcode needs to be 9999. But that's definitely not a problem. And one other question that's come through was around terminated employees. Can terminated employees still log on? That's up to your business. From our software perspective, yes, terminated employees can still log in to view their payment summary, payslips and personal details. However, if your business doesn't allow employees to have access to employee self-service, or doesn't allow terminated employees to retain their access, i.e. you manually remove their web roles, then obviously they won't be able to access them. We recommend for clients who have a lot of terminated employees, we recommend that the client actually does a password reset for all of their terminated employees a little bit before end of financial year, so that they don't have to worry about employees being locked out who need to access their payment summary. Okay, so that looks like all the questions that we have, so I'll wrap the webinar up now. I'd like to thank you for coming along again. I hope it was useful. Have a look at the help topics in our eCorporate Help Centre on your end if you have any other questions. You can also get in touch with the support team. Tomorrow, keep an eye out. We will let you know via email, but keep an eye out as we should get a recording of this webinar along with the slides up and available in our Help Centre for you to view again or download if required.